What's going on, guys? It's Zach here, bringing you guys another fantasy football video, or more live stream, of course. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through all the injury updates here, get you guys all set for your lineups. Obviously, we had a lot of injury updates and news that were happening that was coming down to the wire this week. So a lot of people probably don't have their lineups completely set yet. So as always, if you guys have any specific questions, just feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll answer them while I go through this, and then if we get through it, and people have more questions, we can go for that as well. So. We'll start things off with the early morning games. So Trey McBride and Marquise Brown are going to be active for the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, I'm not super excited about the prospects of really either one of them. Decent matchup, though, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you can play both of them. I think in most situations, I'd be playing Trey McBride without even really thinking about it. And Hollywood Brown, he'd like a low-end flex play for me. Mark, I'm not seeing your question. I just see in full PPR. Maybe you're about to type it. Michael Wilson for the Cardinals, he's going to be out. That does make Greg Dortch like a decent deep league dart throw if you want to go that way. DFS, I think that makes some sense as well, but I'm not super excited about that. But overall, I think Marquise Brown and then Trey McBride can both be in lineups, but obviously not super excited there. Tim can only start 2.5 PPR, Ramondre, Achan, or Javante. I think I'd go Ramondre and Achan. Achan's just too explosive and a really good matchup. I mean, there's a legitimate chance here that Achan ends up being the starter for the Dolphins this week. Obviously, it's super risky. Javante's a good play as well. So if you need like floor, then I get going with Javante. But if you need any sort of ceiling at all, I think Achan is just too tough to bench. And then Ramondre, his matchup is awesome. I can't imagine benching him. Let's see, Brandon Johnson might not mean a whole lot really, but he's been activated off of IR for the Denver Broncos. Probably going to eat into Marvin Mims' workload just a little bit. Don't expect a whole lot of real involvement for him, maybe like 2 targets in the game. So it doesn't mean a whole lot. I think Cortland Sutton still a solid wide receiver 3. Doesn't really change anything else for me for the Broncos. Noah Brown and Tank Dell are going to be playing for the Houston Texans. That's great news for the pass catchers, although on the flip side, Dalton Schultz is going to be inactive. I can't imagine sitting Tank Dell or Nico Collins. They're both going to be in my lineups for the Texans. I think Brevin Jordan is a nice, like, deep league dart throw at the tight end position. If you want to play him in DFS, I like that as well. I actually like Brevin Jordan on film. He looks good. He's an explosive player. Really good matchup against Denver, so I think you can be streaming Brevin Jordan if you want to. And then Noah Brown, he's a really deep league flex play. I'd prefer to see what happens with him this week with like all the wide receivers healthy. So I'd rather bench Noah Brown, but I mean, there is upside there if you want to get sort of down and dirty with it. Obviously, we knew this already, but Jonathan Taylor is going to be inactive. Makes Zach Moss must start this week against the Tennessee Titans. Keenan Allen, he's going to be active. He missed a lot of practice this week, but he'll be good to go. He's going to be the only healthy wide receiver, really, for the Los Angeles Chargers. No way you're benching Keenan Allen. He should be in line for a great game against the Patriots. In that same game, Ezekiel Elliott is going to be active, and Demario Douglas is going to be inactive. Zeke, having missed practice, obviously he's not someone that I'm considering playing by any means, even though it's a really good matchup. But sort of like I said earlier to Tim, Ramondre is going to have a really good game here. Really expect about 80% of the snaps for him. Really great matchup against the Chargers. There's no way I'm benching Ramondre this week. And then Demario Douglas, he's inactive. Doesn't mean a whole lot for me. He was like a decent deep league dart throw at the flex spot if you wanted to go that route, if he had played. Obviously not an option. So with Bailey Zappi at the helm, Devontae Parker should be the number one target in the offense. If you're in DFS or something, you could play Devontae Parker, but that's obviously a little bit scary. So just keep that in mind. But I think you can go there. He's more of a DFS play for me. And the same thing can be said for Hunter Henry, who I think could have a good game, but it's just not something I really want to be trusting in redraft. For the Saints, we've got Kendre Miller and Rashid Shaheed inactive today. On the flip side, though, Chris Olave, he cleared concussion protocol. He's going to suit up. Super excited about that for Chris Olave. He should have in line for a massive game against the Detroit Lions. He practiced a lot this week, so it's not like he'll be out of practice. Chris Olave is in line for a massive workload. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is in for a huge workload as well. And I think both tight ends in Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill could be active and involved. And then if you want to get super deep and dirty with it, I think A.T. Perry is someone you could consider. Should get a lot of snaps opposite of Chris Olave this week, as should Lynn Bowden Jr. Not really going to be playing either one of those guys, but if you're like a deep dynasty league and they're on waivers, you could pick them up just to see what happens there. For the Jets, Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook are going to be active. There were some question marks surrounding both of them. Dalvin Cook with a shoulder injury, Breece Hall with a hamstring injury. They should both be good to go. Obviously, Dalvin Cook's not going to be in anyone's lineup. Breece Hall should be as like a low-end running back too. So it is a tough matchup for Breece if you want to look elsewhere. I totally get it. Like maybe you've had Devon Achane on your bench. I'd prefer Devon Achane over Breece Hall. So there are situations where you could be benching Breece Hall this week, but you're probably playing him. Treylon Burks, he's going to be active this week. Finally got clearance to return from the concussion protocol for the Titans. I'm not playing him by any means, but he should really slot in as the clear wide receiver 2 in that offense. It'll be interesting to see if he can put together some good games with Will Levis going forward. Mark, you've got Allen and Devonta Smith. Bijan and White. Flex is Kamara. And you're benching Olave, Ridley, Montgomery, and Achane. Wow, that's a really good team. Yeah, I can't imagine benching Bijan or White. Let's see. It's really tough for me to bench Chris Olave this week. I think he's in line for a really good game. If you wanted to play him over Devonta Smith, I think I would do that. But otherwise, I like it. That's a really good roster. That's a good problem to have. So if you want to play him over Devonta Smith, I think I would do that. But they're all really good options. I don't have any complaints with either one there. Moving on to the afternoon games, Hayden Hurst, he's going to be out this week. Doesn't mean a whole lot for me. So obviously, I think that for the Panthers, you're really just looking at Adam Thielen only, really. I mean, you could potentially look at someone like Jonathan Mingo in DFS. He finally got more targets last week, so you could look that way. But I think in general, it's going to be Adam Thielen and nobody else for the Panthers if you're playing anybody. Marquise Goodwin's going to remain out for the Cleveland Browns, but obviously Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore are going to be active, so you can play both of them as like low-end options. Amari Cooper's a super low-end flex play. Elijah Moore's like a really deep league dart throw. Interesting to see what's going to happen there with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco obviously has a little bit of chemistry with Elijah Moore, having played together in New York last year, so we'll see what happens. I don't think I want to play any of them, but you could see how that turns out. And then, like I said, DTR is going to be out, so Joe Flacco is obviously getting the start this week. Dallas Goedert, he's going to be doubtful to play in this one. Probably going to be one more week before we get him back on the field, but that'll be 3 weeks that he's missed. I think we'll see him probably in week 14. So if he's on waivers for you guys in any of your leagues and you need a tight end, I think he definitely needs to be rostered at this point. And then Chris Godwin, been questionable all week. It sounds like he's going to wake up, feel fine, and then suit up. So I still don't want to play him. Banged up Chris Godwin. He hasn't really been great at all this season, and it's not a great matchup for opposing wide receivers. The Panthers are just really easy to beat on the run. So I'd prefer to be sitting Chris Godwin if I can. For the Sunday night game, Jaden Reed, he's questionable. It sounds like he's going to be suiting up. I think he's a decent, like, deeper league flex play. I'm benching him for Terry McLaurin in one league. That was like, or James Conner. Both those guys I'm playing over him in flex spots. So that's like the only decision I personally have had to make with Jaden Reed. But I do like him. I think you can play him. It's a decent matchup against the Chiefs this week. So you could play him, but obviously just not super excited there. Aaron Jones, he's going to be inactive today. It's going to be all of A.J. Dillon, basically, for the Packers. I think you can play A.J. Dillon as like a low-end running back, too, but obviously you need a touchdown here for him to catch some passes. And Jerick McKinnon, he'll be inactive. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but does make Isaiah Pacheco a little bit more valuable, so I can't imagine benching Pacheco this week. So that should do it for the injury updates this week. As always, if you guys have any other additional questions, just comment on the video. I'll try and check the comments. Comment on this one as well. I'll try and check the comments up until kickoff, so hopefully we can get you guys all set up and get you guys some wins. Mark, you gained a point from my advice of and who I told you last week, Ingram or Njoku. I got to go in Ingram this week. The Bengals matchup is just really good. They're one of the worst defenses against opposing tight ends. Njoku's obviously got a little bit of question marks just surrounding the quarterback situation. I think Njoku's still going to be super involved. I think they're both good options, but I think Evan Ingram's going to score for the first time this season this week. So I can't imagine benching Evan Ingram. I really like his matchup this week. So if anyone else has any additional questions, just let me know in the comments of this video, or you can comment on another video. I'll be sure to check those periodically up until kickoff so I can get you guys all set and try not to miss anyone. And good luck, everybody. I hope you guys can get some wins, get yourselves into the playoffs. So appreciate all you guys, and hopefully go kick some ass this week. All right, peace.